Want to learn English and get inspired? Today's story is about Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia for much of the 21st century. His life is filled with challenges, determination, and many important lessons. You may not agree with all of his actions, but understanding his journey can teach us about resilience, leadership, and the power of perseverance. Join me as we explore his early life, career, and the significant moments that have shaped his time in power. Chapter 1. Early Life, 1952 to 1975. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7th, 1952, in Leningrad, which is now called St. Petersburg, Russia. Born into a working-class family, Putin's childhood was not easy. His father was a factory worker and a member of the Communist Party. He fought bravely during World War II, but was badly wounded. His mother faced great struggles, almost starving to death during the 900-day Nazi siege of Leningrad. Growing up, Putin was an energetic child, often considered more of a hooligan than a model student. As a young boy, he loved to play outside with his friends, but he often felt different from others. He had a passion for Sambo, a Russian martial arts similar to judo. This sport taught him discipline, respect, and how to focus on his goals. Interestingly, Putin was inspired by movies about spies and the KGB, the Soviet Union Security Service. He thought those films made being a spy look exciting and glamorous. By the time he was in high school, he wanted to join the KGB. However, the KGB told him he would need military training or a higher education, preferably in law. Putin graduated from Leningrad State University in 1975 with a degree in law. In the same year, he joined the KGB's Foreign Intelligence Service. This decision marked a significant turning point in his life. Chapter 2. KGB Service, 1975 to 1991. He got married to Lyudmila Putina in 1983, and they had 2 daughters during his time in East Germany, where he worked from 1985 to 1989. His posting in Dresden, East Germany, was not particularly distinguished. Unlike Berlin, which was a major city, Dresden was seen as a less important place for an officer. Here, he worked on gathering and analyzing political intelligence, but it was much less exciting than he had imagined. The most notable event during his time there was witnessing the fall of communism in East Germany in 1989. He realized that the Soviet Union was not invincible, and the signs of its eventual collapse were becoming evident. By 1991, when the Soviet Union fell apart, Putin retired from the KGB with the rank of lieutenant colonel. Chapter 3. Political Rise, 1991 to 1999. He returned to his hometown of St. Petersburg and began to work in local government under the first democratically elected mayor, Anatoly Sobchak. Sobchak appointed him as his deputy in 1994, where Putin worked hard and gained attention for his abilities. Putin's rise to power began in a time of great uncertainty. The early 1990s were marked by political and economic chaos in Russia. Many people were fearful and unsure of their futures after the Soviet Union collapsed. In 1996, he caught the eye of Boris Yeltsin, the first president of Russia who was struggling in office. In 1999, Yeltsin appointed him as prime minister, a position few people believed he could keep, especially since 4 previous prime ministers have been dismissed in a short time. But Putin proved many wrong. On December 31st, 1999, Yeltsin surprised the nation by resigning and naming Putin as his chosen successor. As the acting president, Putin began to show the Russian people a different direction. Chapter 4. First Presidency, 2000 to 2004. In March 2000, Putin was elected president, winning more than 53% of the vote. This marked his first experience as an elected leader, and he faced many challenges from the start. One significant challenge was the ongoing conflict in Chechnya, a region that sought to gain independence. The Chechen War had begun during Yeltsin's presidency, and there were many violent clashes between Russian forces and Chechen rebels. Putin's approach to the Chechen crisis was decisive. He ordered military operations to regain control over the region. In 2002, Chechen militants took over a Moscow theater and took hundreds of hostages. Russian forces stormed the building to rescue the hostages, resulting in significant casualties. This event sparked criticism from many corners of the world, but Putin's response was to tighten his grip on power. Another challenge he faced was the so-called oligarchs, powerful business leaders who had acquired enormous wealth during the chaotic transition from communism. During Yeltsin's presidency, these oligarchs helped to secure his political future. However, Putin took a different stand. He struck a deal with them. They would not engage in politics, and he would let them keep their wealth. Yet, those who opposed him faced serious consequences. For example, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, once one of Russia's richest men, was arrested and imprisoned after challenging Putin. As president, Putin focused on rebuilding Russia's economy, which had suffered severely after the fall of the Soviet Union. With control over energy resources like oil and gas, Putin was able to stabilize the economy and boost national pride. Many Russians felt a renewed sense of hope as they experienced economic growth and had more opportunities. Throughout his first term, Putin tightened his control over independent media, limiting dissenting voices. He believed that a strong government needed to have control over the narrative in the country. Journalists who reported negatively about the government faced threats and intimidation. As examples, Anna Politkovsky and Alexander Litvinenko were both killed, allegedly for their critical views on Putin and the government. Chapter 5. The Second Presidency, 2004 to 2008. In 2004, Putin won re-election, securing 72% of the vote, although this election was marred by controversy and accusations of unfair practices. Many observers noted that the media failed to provide substantial coverage of opposition parties, emphasizing the tight grip Putin had on information. In 2008, Putin was limited by the Constitution from seeking a third consecutive term, so he selected Dmitry Medvedev as his successor. However, after Medvedev was elected, Putin returned to a powerful position as prime minister, continuing to influence Russian politics. During Medvedev's presidency, the official counterterrorism operations in Chechnya were declared concluded in 2009, but violence remained a concern in the North Caucasus. Chapter 6. Key Events and Conflicts, 2012 to 2018. Putin ran for a third term as president in 2012, winning again amidst widespread allegations of electoral fraud. Opponents voiced their frustrations, and large protests erupted in major cities like Moscow. People felt disillusioned with the political process, believing their voices were being ignored. In 2014, a major event changed the landscape of Russian politics and its relationship with the world. After the Ukrainian Revolution, where President Yanukovych fled, Putin moved quickly to protect Russian interests. He received parliamentary approval to send Russian troops into Ukraine, claiming he needed to safeguard Russian-speaking populations. This led to the annexation of Crimea, a region that had been part of Ukraine. This aggressive action drew fierce international condemnation and resulted in strict economic sanctions imposed by the United States, and the European Union. Despite international backlash, Putin defended his actions. Many Russians supported him, believing he was restoring the country's historical territories and national pride. His popularity surged at this time, showcasing how public perception can be influenced during times of conflict. However, the situation was complex. The United Nations General Assembly declared the annexation of Crimea illegal, and Ukraine filed a lawsuit against Russia in the International Court of Justice. The conflict sparked by the annexation resulted in thousands of deaths and a humanitarian crisis, with many people displaced or forced to flee their homes. In the following years, Putin continued to assert his influence in various international affairs. He developed a close relationship with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and in 2015, Russia intervened in the Syrian civil war, claiming its purpose was to combat terrorism. This marked the first time Russia had engaged militarily outside of the former Soviet Union since its dissolution. Russian airstrikes had a significant impact, causing destruction but also raising concerns about civilian casualties. In 2018, Putin was re-elected for another term, winning 78% of the votes. Upon returning to office, he began taking steps to solidify his power even further. He proposed constitutional amendments to extend his influence, leading to changes in government structure. Chapter 7: Fourth Term and Ukraine War, 2018 to present. The invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022, marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict that had begun in 2014. The world watched as Russian forces confronted fierce resistance from Ukraine. The response from Western nations included extensive military aid to Ukraine and severe economic sanctions against Russia. Reports indicated heavy losses on both sides, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. Throughout this turbulent time, Putin's health became a topic of concern. Many rumors circulated about his well-being, with reports suggesting possible illnesses. Nevertheless, he remained a prominent figure on the world stage, defying critics and maintaining a strong image of leadership. Chapter 8: Legacy and Conclusion. Both as president and prime minister, Putin has overseen a period of economic growth and national confidence. However, his leadership style has drawn criticism for being authoritarian. Many opposition leaders and journalists have highlighted the erosion of democratic principles and human rights during his time in office. Putin's actions have led to a polarized perception of Russia in the international community. While some view him as a protector of national interests, others see him as a threat to global stability and democracy. So, what lessons can we learn from Vladimir Putin's story? First, it showcases the importance of resilience. Despite many challenges throughout his life, from his difficult childhood to political opposition, he never lost sight of his goals. Second, curiosity and a desire for knowledge propelled him to pursue a career that shaped a nation's direction. His early interests in martial arts and intelligence developed his strategic thinking. Third, the ability to navigate complex political situations shows the necessity of careful decision-making. In times of uncertainty, being strategic can lead to success. Finally, staying committed to your mission, even under criticism, can define your legacy. Whether viewed positively or negatively, Putin's unwavering focus on his goals remains evident. In summary, Vladimir Putin is a complex figure whose life has been shaped by significant historical events and personal ambitions. His story is a reminder that the journey of power is filled with challenges, opportunities, and the consequence of choices made. If you found this story about Putin interesting and inspiring, don't forget to like and subscribe for more motivational tales. Always remember, No matter the obstacles you face, keep pushing forward. The world needs resilient leaders and learners.